Hello, I am Sean Jacobson. I am the AP Comparative Government teacher for Fiveable. Today I'm here to talk to you about the Malayan elections and the aftermath in 2020. This is a big deal. First, let's follow Think Fiveable on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. It is going to benefit you so that you get great AP scores, and that's what we're all here for you. So, generally speaking, elections are seen as the will of the people. But sometimes that just doesn't happen. And this is one of those cases. So in Mali, the voice of the people were met in conjunction with the voice of the military. And they oversaw a junta to depose President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. It's not that simple, though. So let's go through everything. So from June through August, Malayans were in the streets calling for the resignation of IBK. That's what we're going to call him from here on out. The overwhelming majority of Malayans were not happy with France's continued presence, and 77% of them believe France was just in it for their own interests. Tens of thousands of people were in the streets of Bamako, and Mahmoud Dicko was quoted as saying, "If this rally doesn't teach him a lesson, history will tell the way in which his power will end." That's in some ways threatening. On June 5th, this is the big one, the M5RFP, the movement for the Rally of Patriotic Forces, had the support of protesters from three main groups. Understand, this is big. The Front of the Safeguarding Democracy, which included third parties as well as Somalia CISE, the Coordination of Movements, Associations, and Sympathizers, which was led by Dicko, who is a very prominent Muslim cleric in Mali and the former president of the High Islamic Court of Mali, and Espoir Mali Koura, who has a bunch of influential personalities, including the filmmaker Sissoko. On June 20th, ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, said after 2 days of observations, they asked the government to rerun some of their contested elections because they just didn't think it was right. Turnout in those elections were low because a lot of people feared attacks from jihadist groups. They've had a problem with that in their recent past. Protests grew to the hundreds of thousands. Protests from mid-July turned violent as security forces from the government fired upon the protesters. 11 people died, but that's all that we know, official numbers. United Nations, the African Union, and ECOWAS condemns any form of violence. On August 11th, the protests resumed with Constitutional Court judges being sworn in. And during these protests again, tear gas, water cannons to dissipate crowds. That is obviously going to get the attention of the international community. On August 8th, soldiers arrested Keïta and CISE after one of the colonels surrounded the base of the capital where they were. They both resigned the next day, and Parliament was just dissolved completely. Keïta was released on August 27th and left for medical treatment to the UAE. That's a thing. For the rest of August, the Committee for Salvation of the People declared reinstating IBK is not what we're going to do. The only thing that they want to do is have a transition. And under the rules of ECOWAS should midwife the transition. So they should really be a part of this. There has been a transitional government that's been propped up, and that led by a president who would be picked by the military for 2 years, but they've changed that to 18 months. The opposition, there's unfortunately been more jihadists prevalent in Mali because hundreds of them were released because a French charity worker and CISE, the former opposition leader, were also released and freed. But a Swiss Christian missionary was killed on October 9th. If you're interested at all in any of this, I teach AP Comp Gov, and that's the UK, Russia, China, Nigeria, Iran, and Mexico, all at current times. It is a fascinating class. It is by far the most interesting class you could take. I hope to see you there. It would be great. Have a great day.